and welcome to Zest to Zen with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that'll take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome Ruth Pringle, a trailblazing English coach for art graduates and creative professionals. She empowers artists to find their authentic voice in English, helping them navigate networking, self-promotion, and communication with confidence without compromising their artistry. Her unique approach blends language training with creativity, authenticity, and real-world practice, enabling artists to step into opportunities fully prepared and fully seen. So let's get ready to discover how aligning our powerful words with our art or our creative self-expression can transform not just your career, but your sense of creative confidence. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Shel.
You're so welcome. And something that just really stood out to me just as I was reading your intro was, first of all, where did this come from? Because I'm always intrigued the background behind how there's obviously something you notice missing or something or an opportunity. But so I don't want to ask two questions at once, but they maybe might feed into each other. But also, especially when thinking about graduates, how do you prepare them? Because there's speaking about it, there's supporting them, and then there's actually being, say, in a gallery or an exhibition or a really high stake situation or opportunity. And so I just wondered, like, does role play a part in preparing them?
I think rather than saying role play, I'd say safe practice space.
Beautiful.
Because for many of us or many people using English, they learn it at school, and then the only places they're then using this second language are kind of career defining. It's work. And what stops happening is having a place to experiment and to play, and builds the connection with the language. So it's very much like with a lot of things within language learning, even the term role play is quite loaded, and we kind of think of it as being inauthentic or fake.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretending to be somebody that we're not. And it's a tool that's used in a lot of classrooms because you can rehearse a conversation through it. But what that's not doing is giving people a deep connection with the language, because you're speaking somebody else's words, and that's of limited use to artists. It's perhaps vaguely useful for grammar purposes, but it doesn't help build that connection that's so vital. So yeah, in order to really understand the big picture, I guess I need to just explain a little bit about language learning, and that most of us can close our eyes and imagine what it looks like, and it looks like a classroom, and it looks like a teacher going blah blah blah, and it looks like a row of people learning, which serves people to a point, but it's not enough for feeling confident in the language. So it's a good way of getting the words that you need or the grammar that you need into your head, but it does nothing to get it into your heart and convert it to language that you feel and you use and you feel confident using. So what we have is this big gap of people that can technically speak the language but have never enjoyed speaking the language. And that's what I do in both my businesses. I help people just flourish in that feeling of sort of letting it go and feeling great with it. So with artists, it was indeed, as you say, a gap. It's missing, because a lot of English language training, when you have English for specific purposes, you can have English for doctors or I don't know, English for gardeners or whatever. There's you can study a type of English that your work needs. But when it comes to artists, you can have two ceramicists side by side, and they have completely different reasons for making their work, completely different influences. So there's no kind of handy model that you can put all of our artists through, and then at the end they have discovered the language they need to talk about their work. So it's missing. It's totally missing. So we have all of our graduates who have a little bit of language education in art schools, but honestly, art schools don't even know how to teach language, they treat it like a necessity rather than an opportunity for building networks immediately, for starting working professionally and internationally immediately, because that's what happens when you make and create in English, using your English. You're not just developing the language that you need for your future, you're also finding this identity as a artist that's international, that's bigger than who you are at the moment. And for anybody who's learned a second language, you know that's what you get with the language. You don't just get words. You get culture, you get somebody new. It's like growing a new part of yourself. So yeah, that's why it's exciting as well.
Wow, you touched on so much there, and I can even see, because I know that there might be some people kind of not switching off, but thinking, oh, well, I'm not an art graduate, or I'm not this. But I want people to really open their minds like wider than this, because what I hear you explaining is not just about an artist. And the two things that came to mind when you explained about the ceramics is there's a big, wow, I'd love your take on this, but what I feel is there's a big difference in standing up authentically from the heart and really being passionate about what you've created, and the intention of wanting to sell. Because from what I know myself, as also being someone who did art at A level and beyond, and considers myself an artist, I know that how and the reason behind what I created isn't always seen by others. So when you think of that from a selling perspective, of course we want to passionately express ourselves, but I feel like sometimes with the selling, I feel like people actually need that time to feel the artwork first, because they have to have that connection to it. But again, I would love your take on this.
Truly, I mean, I think it's different for everyone, but I think most artists and creatives find selling their own work or promoting their own work difficult. So for myself, I've been involved in promoting artists for years. It's not the same thing as promoting your own work, because you've got nowhere to hide. You feel naked, you feel vulnerable. You're
and
like,
it's so personal, isn't
yes,
it?
yes. It's like, I don't know if you were ever a kid and like you had to tidy your bedroom, and then you knew that your mum was going to come and have a look at your bedroom, and you're, oh no, don't look. It's that feeling of when you're standing in front of your audience, when you've made something, and like honestly, it can take years to find out how you feel about an artwork. There's when you're immediately, you're so invested in making this sculpture or this painting that you don't even know if you like it. You don't know how powerful it is. It can take years for that. So like the way an art career normally works is you make the thing and then you have to immediately talk about it, you have to immediately promote it and sell it. And I guess what I would say is that if that's tough in your first language, imagine how difficult it is in second language. Because so I guess one of the things we talk about is knowing in the language how to sound certain, because quite often that is important. If you think about your mission, there's things you're absolutely certain about, but there's also times that you want to sound curious and exploratory, like you don't have all the answers. Because as soon as you're an artist and you stand in front of people and you say, I've painted this landscape because of this, 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 and this, the mystery's gone. Whereas if you're an artist and you say, I painted this landscape because of this, but questions I am exploring are this and this and this. It's a very subtle difference in the language, but on one, you're just being didactic and you're telling your audience what to think. In the other example, you're inviting your audience in to listen to you telling a story about that artwork, and that's so much more compelling for them. That's what that brings them into your world. That's what creates fans and super fans of your artwork. Even if they're not buyers, they're people who want to support you and promote you and be there with you. And as creatives, we need these people. We need our team. So it's a very slight, it's a light touch. So even when you think you know the words to describe your artwork, what you still perhaps need is a place to test it and practice it and have these different slightly different situations where you develop a slightly different voice for different audiences. And
Yeah.
few people get that. They go from as soon as you're showing up as a creative, then you're a professional, and you don't want to get locked in. I think you need, and that's what language confidence and freedom gives you, this ability to develop your story.
Absolutely. You raised so many, again, really important things there. And I'm sure most people, particularly that are promoting themselves, it doesn't matter about whether they're consider themselves a creative or not. I believe it's still a very creative process. And I think
Mhm.
you highlighting, especially about with lots of us now having multiple languages, that English not being the first language, like even, and obviously I'm talking at a very, very basic level here, but even when I think, you learn like a little bit of Spanish or something, generally you're obviously that they would have, like, I'm sure the people you work with have got a certain level of English, but I mean, like, we don't speak the same as we would in our native language. So like, oh, hi, where is the bathroom? Normally we just throw a word at them. And so if
Yeah.
again, even if we create a script and we have it all kind of rehearsed, you
Mhm.
don't know what questions are going to come out. You don't know, yeah, like all different opportunities that are going to be presented to you. So
Mm.
there's very much a
Yeah.
difference between standing up on a stage, having a presentation, and then kind of the real key is actually the engagement with the other people, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's
And
that's a strong skill.
you can't control that. And then another aspect of a creative career, because I've lived it. I was an artist for maybe 10 years. So I went to France, I went to Belgium to pursue this
Amazing.
career as an artist. So um, there's situations that are obviously professional, like if you're standing in a room talking to people sitting down listening to you talking to your about your work, or a job interview. These are clear professional situations.
Yeah.
Whereas the culture of being an artist or a musician or a creative is to be networking
Mm-hmm.
socially, to be going to galleries, and that requires a different type of English. One thing
Absolutely.
you don't learn that at school.
Mm.
So it's why I called my website Gigs and Jams, because it's basically you need the language for gigs, like professional invitations to speak about your work, but also jams when you're collaborating with somebody, when ideas are flowing. Again, imagine you're having a collaboration, you have an idea, somebody else has an idea, and you're not quite certain about their idea. If you don't
Mm.
have the right language skills that can kill that little nurturing, that little developing plant, it's like a big footprint comes down, a foot comes down and squashes it. There's this tiny little growth of an idea, and then somebody goes, that won't work. You've killed it. Whereas if you have the
Mm.
language skills in order to say, I'm interested, however, there's a problem with this aspect of it. Can we work out how to, you're putting the language structure in place that's the person
Yeah, yeah.
to keep sharing their ideas, and that's how collaborations happen. Every single
Absolutely.
collaboration is about sharing opinions and ideas, and being able to speak your truth, but without whilst giving the other people the space to speak theirs.
Absolutely. And I think that's really important what you just said, because um, again, speaking in your own language, personality wise,
Mm,
often the way the excitement may be, the you don't need to think and you're just
mm,
explaining and you're really connecting to your heart.
mm,
um Sometimes that whole translation process and picking the right words, and sometimes the words are very similar to other words, so you don't want to say the word slightly wrong, or masculine or
mm,
feminine, or there's all the,
mm,
going back to what you said about the different rules, and even down to the culture, like, or yeah, like, who is it, a diverse audience, is it actually predominantly people from that country?
mm,
um even the setting, what kind of standards are set in the setting. There's so much that even culturally we need to be respectful of.
Yeah, and if your brain's worrying about that, even if 10% of your brain's worrying about that, you're not optimizing your chance to speak with this person and to collaborate and to communicate. Whereas if you have like a rehearsal space, and this is not just for artists and creatives, this is for anyone using the language. If you have the chance to just play, experiment, and develop these responses, sort of automate these responses, it frees up that part of your brain so you can give the person you're speaking to your full attention, and then you're not wasting, there's not this delay. And then the other thing you mentioned about showing up as yourself, like I experienced it. I speak French well, but not fluently, and I always felt like part of me was missing in French because I've got quite a strong, I perhaps rely on humor a little bit too much, but if I find something funny, I say it, and that's part that I know that's who I am, but that was getting lost in French. I didn't have the language to make jokes. I didn't have the subtlety of the language to make my timing work right, and it's a very frustrating feeling when you feel like you're showing up incomplete and you want the person to know you, but they're only getting a slice of you. However, I would say, because this sounds a little bit perhaps like sad, there's another part of this that is really good news for anybody who's going through this in their second language. It's even obvious while we're talking. Look how much I'm using my hands. Look how much we're smiling at each other. So much communication is visual. So even if your English isn't perfect, and we can have a whole different conversation about what perfect means, but it's probably good enough if you just get used to trusting your instincts, trusting yourself, trusting you showing up, relying on all these visual clues that you have. There's so many other ways to communicate. And when you're talking about an artwork, nobody's going like, she didn't use the present perfect right. Nobody's thinking that. They're thinking your artwork's amazing.
And I think like we have to really, and we touched on this just before we started, there's actually, I think we need to start seeing vulnerability different as well. As actually vulnerability is a superpower in itself of, you know, like how many times, like I know it's the typical like stereotypical vision of like a fashion show, and they walk in with the big glasses and then, you know, very limited English or something, and just like, get me the chair, or, you know, like but actually there's still power and vulnerability and presence in still how you show up. Like even just owning it and just being like, do you know what, I know my heart, I know what I've created, and you know what, this actually can even sell itself, because if someone really feels it and loves it, and you do a beautiful presentation, and then maybe in those discussions you're kind of a little bit like, sorry, my English is not great, or my French, whatever language you talk about, not just English, that, like what we said, that there's actually even sometimes a beauty in that vulnerability,
and there's a beauty in the imperfection as well. And I wholly, completely agree with you. But I think at the beginning when I said if you close your eyes and picture a language class, that's the opposite of that. We've been trained like the language teaching at schools and at universities is at a cost, because you are trained to, when you open your mouth and you make a mistake, like even when you're getting assessed, they don't assess what you can do. They kind of go, oh, made that mistake. So we have years of using our second language in this context, and then we suddenly have to use it professionally, and we expect that fear not to travel with us, where of course it travels with us, because we've learned that. So I mean most of what I do is creating the space to play and to practice, creating the opportunities to get rid of that feeling, because that's the most important thing. I do very little teaching. I like my rules just kind of go like, it's enough, you're good as you are, Here's an
Beautiful.
alternative way. Let's practice it in this situation. But I think most people don't need like yeah, like we have there's times that accuracy is really essential for artists. I mean, it's flippant to say, oh, a lawyer or a doctor needs perfect English, whereas an artist doesn't. It's not the case because there's times that you need superb accuracy to express yourself, but there's other times you don't, and mistakes are woven into them, and that's if it's not impeding how somebody understands your work, it's not a problem. And
Yeah.
most language teachers would go at this point because they see their role to be about English, whereas I see my role to be helping people be heard. It's not the same thing.
But I think that's really important what you've mentioned, and even saying the word role. And obviously, we're not stereotyping and assuming everybody, but
Hmm.
actually, that's where we need this kind of more collaborative, open ended thinking of, okay, be it from early, teaching right up to whatever, are we actually preparing them for the world, for
Hmm.
life? Because we can kind of be in our little, like, okay, I need this result and, this percentage. But actually, even from being an educator myself for so many years, I always used to think, even down to like a microphone, I thought, well, actually, their expression and their language isn't what's actually holding them back. It's this thing in their hand that's now they can hear themselves. Their voice sounds completely different. So even down to that, like someone being given a microphone and then you can hear
Hmm.
yourself, that has a huge impact. So I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
sometimes we need to think a little bit like
Hmm.
wider than just the subject, and actually, are
Truly.
we really preparing everyone for life skills with the
Truly.
subject, which
Truly.
it
I
sounds
mean,
like you're doing, which
yeah.
is amazing.
I'm definitely part of it. I was just thinking about the microphone. I mean, most of the times we're in front of a microphone, we're doing something scary and terrifying.
But that's what I mean. So just
But
think, like, when
exactly.
actually,
So,
really, in
yeah.
a school setting, or like I used to
Hmm.
just do it every day with mine, like even
Hmm.
for the register, like pass it around or something,
Yeah.
because actually, even myself, I never once
Hmm.
experienced having a microphone
Yeah.
while in education.
Hmm.
And I remember again, it was my first almost public speaking, and it was like, "Hi,
I
what?" And I was
know.
like, "Oh, I can hear myself. That doesn't sound
Yeah.
good." And so now you're like listening to yourself when
Hmm.
you should just be fully engrossed in the moment. And I
Hmm.
remember these like 5-year-olds, and they were like, it was like picking up a pencil in the end. They're not
Hmm.
bothered by it, but to start with, it was
That's a skill for
fun.
life.
Mm.
Exactly. That's a skill for life. And if
Yeah.
anybody does have that microphone fear, I would suggest a wee dose of karaoke.
Yeah, but even that, like again, it doesn't matter if there's a drunk audience or not. People are still
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
staring at you.
I mean, you get used to it. I mean, like if public speaking is part of your job and you do it infrequently, so there's enough time to like lose the buzz of it and start remembering the fear of it, then
Mm.
yeah, just a wee dose of karaoke now and again just keeps that skill refreshed.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Oh, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. And I know you mentioned your website earlier, and I'm sure I'll obviously pop it all in the notes, and I'm sure there'll be lots of people that'd be very interested to go on. And I love the
Mhm.
creative name of it.
Thank you.
Obviously, if there's anything else you would like to share,
I
please
guess I'd
feel
like to
free.
share about my well, we've talked a lot about how I help creatives,
Mm-hmm.
but I also I do help people who are professionals but not creatives.
Mm-hmm.
I have two separate things that I do, and they're linked through a real world English theme. So I actually offer people English language holidays here in Scotland, which
Beautiful.
is like it's a lot of fun. So that's kind of April to October, which means that we get to take advantage of beautiful Scotland, the scenery, the landscape, the culture. So I'm a bit of a culture guide, being that my background is in arts and I love sharing. Like we go into, let me just tell you a wee bit about going into an
Yeah.
artist studio for a conversation, because some people may think, well, I don't know anything about art, that's not for me. But actually, if you walk into, let's pick a ceramicist that I know, if you walk into her studio and have a chat, you're going to experience lots of different things for your language. And one, you're going to meet somebody who is friendly and welcoming, who is a little bit rural and doesn't get to meet lots of people because she's a ceramicist working in a studio by herself most of the time. So she's going to be really excited to meet you. She's going to want to know who you are and hear your stories, what part of, I don't know, France or Spain or Germany you're from, what you do. And she knows that she's got this short opportunity to discover you. So she's going to ask you questions and be really interested to hear what you have to say. So already there's an amazing connection. And you're going to be speaking in your second language, and she's going to be using her first language, which could, in some circumstances, make that a little bit of an imbalance and make you feel a bit vulnerable. But you're in her studio, you're surrounded by her artwork. And do you remember the feeling that I said when your mum's checking your room and you're like, that's how she's feeling. So you're kind of going, don't look at my English. And she's going, that work's not finished. I don't know how I feel about it. Don't look at that. Like, these are the feelings that we're both squashing down. So actually you're meeting as equals, which is a really superb language exchange. It's really powerful. I believe that art can heal many, many things, including, so it's not just helping artists talk about their work. I actually have ways that being within culture can heal how people feel about their English. So there's another bit of research about language anxiety, and that this feeling that you feel when you're speaking the second language. It has a name. It's called foreign language anxiety. And they've also done research on crafting and doing things with your hands. And it's like, you can imagine it like a switch. So when you are making and crafting, your anxiety cannot be on. They're like, you're either in a zone of creativity or a zone of anxiety. You can't be both.
Yeah.
So it's something beautiful for everyone to know that, like people who do beadwork or coloring in or things like these are not kind of trivial hobbies. These are really healthy things for your mind, for your brain. They're healing because they give you a pause and a break from anxiety. And in terms of using a second language and speaking it, it can give you a break, or it can rewire. So if you've always felt anxious when you're speaking English, if you come to me and you do a craft workshop and you meet artists and you actually do some mosaic work and some monoprinting and some crochet. I had a client last week doing a basket making workshop. Wow. And she came home with this big giant basket. It was gorgeous. She'd foraged the ingredients, the materials, and then like she'd made this big beautiful wicker basket. And that's a whole day of her using English, but without any of the usual anxiety. So
that's so clever.
Yeah,
so clever. Thank you for mentioning that.
Well, it's useful for everyone, hopefully. Everyone's.
No, but it's true. Like there's a method to the madness, and actually some fun as well.
Oh, fun! I know.
Yeah, so, like why is it, sit down, workbook, PowerPoint, back like we're feeling at school? Yeah, why not
because
have that creativity?
Yeah. It's just easier for people to produce. That's what I'm sorry. I've got roadworks outside. They just started. Can you hear? It's a bit of a buzzing noise. You can. Okay. Let's hope. It's easier to package. Like, of course, that's easier for a course to deliver. You can put 30 people in a room and charge them the same thing and prove that you've taught them 50 words. That's easy to sell. But I am so not interested in helping people that way anymore. The transformation of feeling more comfortable, more fluent, more confident, that you belong in the language, that takes like a personal touch, it's bespoke.
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't happen on scale, and it's why you don't hear about it, because the language schools and the services can't offer it. And if they pretend to be offering it, but it's often quite generic.
But I think that's the beautiful thing about having really important conversations like this is, you know, people people think that they're coming on to listen to one thing, and
Hmm.
someone could just have listened to that now. And yeah, this is how these seeds plant and grow, because
Hmm.
um every leader, every visionary, I'm sure there was, if we all doubted the initial start of something, nothing would ever change. But
Hmm.
this is the whole beautiful thing, that in order for change, we need to stop having the same mindset, the same patterns.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, okay, that might be like a majority way of doing it. Even, we could go into to teaching and how dated that can kind of be a little bit, and there is improvement
Hmm.
slowly. But actually, if we all just say, okay, that's just how it is, but it's because of people like you that, even if it's just seems like a tiny drop in the ocean right
Hmm.
now, it's still a drop that ripples out.
Truly, yeah.
um, and I
Yeah.
believe the right people, whether they're seeking support or having the ideas, have the same ideas, because there's abundance for everyone. This is how this
Mm.
happens. And then they have your contact details, things
Mm.
evolve.
Mm.
And yeah, I think it's beautiful.
I
Thank you
mean,
so
I
much.
I learned from every profession. So on my language holidays, we do like health and well-being. So like I'm a nature lover. I really spend as much time as I can outside in nature, and I love sharing that. And then there's people, experts who know how to really use nature bathing to kind of unlock well-being. So again, I talked
Yeah.
about the craft and the switch.
And the collaboration.
Nature's another. Yeah, exactly. I get my people in, like there's a woodland sauna that we go to, and it's just like it's so exhilarating. We're in this
Beautiful.
little. I was there a couple of days ago, and it was windy, so there's all these autumn leaves blowing past the window, and we're in this little hot space. And then you go outside and you tip this ice bucket of river water over your head, and then at the end of it, you're like, ah, I feel amazing. That
Yeah.
feeling, bank that feeling, because you just felt that feeling in English. So like it's like taking off the skin of being in a classroom and just putting on something new, fabulous and wonderful. It's
Mm.
shedding the old story and welcoming in the new story.
Absolutely beautiful, Ruth. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. And just
Thank
before
you.
you go,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be linked to what we've been
Sure.
talking about. Just anything off the top of your head. There was something someone listening right now would really benefit from hearing. What would you tell them?
I am loving the way that people are wearing that you are enough t-shirts at the moment. Have you seen that campaign? It's like a mental health awareness or a suicide prevention. And just there's a few people in my community that are just showing up wearing t-shirts that say you are enough. And
Mm,
I, of course, that's just such a powerful message. And I love the fact that it's being worn and it's reassuring people, it's speaking to people without ever
yeah,
vocalizing it. Like I just like
subliminal.
what a clever um way to deliver a message. So I'm in awe of the people that created that as a product that is fun,
Mm,
people are buying and people want to spend their money on. And I'm also in awe of it just as a very simple message. Just my friend was wearing one. He said, just imagine you're in this local supermarket and you're buying something, and the person behind you needed to hear that message. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I think like tying it back to English, like your language is good enough. You have to believe in it. That's probably the transformation I offer people. But never mind about language. You're enough.
I love that.
You're
And
all
and
enough.
something, I don't know why,
Yeah.
just before you go, something that really just powerful came into my mind with that.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about actually tops where people have wore that for years,
Mm.
but it's that person, that intention, that real advertising, that real belief in themselves that made it a
Mm-hmm.
movement. And that's different
Mm-hmm.
to a logo. That's different to just a cute top.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the power of it. But that person could have been
Mm.
like, oh, but someone's put that on their top before. But this is what
Mm,
I feel like this powerful conversation we've had is about, is, creativity, not creativity. Don't allow other people's opinions or your own mind to take you out the game. You have a vision, you have something you really believe is going to make some sort of movement, spread more love, joy, power,
mhm,
impact in the world. Just
mhm.
go for it, because look
Truly,
now,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
this is incredible. um
yeah, yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you so
yeah.
much for sharing that.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been a total pleasure. Thank you so much.
And be with you as well. Thank you.